We were a little bit caught up in it last week because they played so well and because they won, and I think that hasn't something that's happened too often in Welsh rugby recently. Much bigger challenge here for the Dragons, much bigger. I think they've got difficulties, well-documented difficulties off the field, and Mike Ruddock as well has got a big job in pulling these players together because it's a mixed bunch.
We'd better delve into those problems. Downstairs is Chief Executive Officer of the Dragons, David Jenkins. Hello, David. You can't help but notice that the Dragons do seem torn apart off the field.
Well, we've had issues, Eddie, and we're in the process of putting them right. So the last few days have been very encouraging. The season ticket number is getting very close to 2,000, and we're hoping that people throughout the region come along to Rodney Parade and make this a fortress.
Tony Brown is back. Marcus Russell of Ebbw Vale is no longer on the board. Does that mean basically that the Dragons are a standalone Newport franchise?
Not at all. We've got Paul Russell coming onto the board and another representative from Ebbw Vale, and we've got some terrific initiatives in the region taking place. You know, we've got a development side under the main side, which Mike has had 2 sessions with on a Sunday, and the under 16s, 18s and 19s are doing very well, and that actually won at Stradey won internationally last week.
Will you be playing anywhere other than Rodney Parade?
The first 15 games will be played at Rodney Parade, but we are going to take the development side around the region and the under 21 side around the region.
Last week you lost. How important tonight is it to sell yourselves at home to, well, the club support? Will it become a regional support?
Well, as I say, we're hoping so. We've got initiatives around other clubs where we're going to be doing ticketing initiatives, and tonight's very important. You know, the team are well aware of that, and I think they'll put in a performance this evening.
Mike Ruddock got off to a losing start. What has been the reaction in the camp this week?
Well, I think it was a win down at Llanelli. They played the Llanelli boys played very well. We've got to get sort of readdress the situation this evening and put in a display like the Ospreys did at home last week.
Thank you very much, David. Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mike. Just a word on the Dragons' turmoil. How do you see it?
I think there's been a lot of fuss about nothing. I think that Newport should have been in the name. It should be the Newport Dragons, and I know we disagree on this, but I think that Newport should be the focus of the region. I think that it is the sort of second city of Wales now, and there's a lot of sort of investment.
Swansea might argue that point.
Well, yes. No, but I think that they need the infrastructure and they need the ground to base the region somewhere. And I don't see what's wrong with using Newport in the name. I mean, if you just think back a couple of years ago, Newport, fantastic support under Tony Brown, regular 10,000 crowds, some great occasions, and if they're going to make regional rugby work here, then they need to base themselves somewhere. And
why do you need a name? Why not just call them the Dragons? I'll just bring Jonathan in, actually. Jonathan, old Monmouthshire rugby, the county of Gwent, I mean, it had the greatest concentration of first-class clubs in Wales. Should it be just reduced to Newport?
I think Newport missed the boat when Llanelli and Cardiff, stuck to their guns and wanted to be a club and stand alone, and Newport didn't. And if they didn't do it then, maybe it's questionable if they can still do it now. I think what everyone's trying to do is, maybe in a couple of years' time, they'll just be Ospreys, they'll just be Dragons, they'll just be Blues, and they'll just be Scarlets. So I think that's what everyone should work towards. And but I feel it's very, very important, whatever happens behind the scenes now, that they do pull this region in so that it is successful. Because, okay, people say we've got too many players for not enough players for 5 regions, but this is one of the strongest regions, and past history tells us that we need the strong Monmouthshire Gwent. So doesn't matter what they do, everyone's got to work together to make it successful now. And because
okay, thanks, Jonathan. I just think that is the point, isn't it? That it is a region. We need to get everybody motivated. I just wonder whether we're going about it the right way in this corner of Wales. David Moffat will be in on Scrum 5 on Sunday to have his input into the great debate. Now then, off the bench to fill the number 10 shirt, Gavin Henson, one of the child prodigies of Welsh rugby. Is this going to be the season when he comes good? Our own Stuart Davis has been running an eye over Gavin Henson.
Thanks, Eddie. Well, when you come off the bench with 27 minutes to go, the match finally poised, and you managed to score 15 points, which include 2 tries, and a strike rate of a point every 2 minutes, you shouldn't be too surprised if you start the next match. Such is the case this evening for Gavin Henson. He's a game breaker, he's a match winner, he's also an outside half that is happy running through you as much as he is around you. We've seen him making this sort of break many a time, so no one watching last week should have been too surprised at his impact. But the question that many are left with is, can he do it for 80 minutes? And perhaps can he do it week in, week out as well? At only 21, his rugby life really has been a bit of a roller coaster. Many accolades have come his way, none more so than World Young Player of the Year. He also starred in the FIRA Under-19 World Cup, but he won't be going with the big boys this October. That must have come as a huge disappointment to him. But Joe Cool doesn't give too much away, and we're left wondering how much does it hurt and how much fire is in the belly. The talent is certainly there. The question is, how much does he want to make of it? I know for sure, if he goes for it, he could be very, very special indeed.
Thanks, Stuart. Jonathan, you're there. You praised his role as an impact player last week. Has he got 80 minutes in him?
Well, it's only he knows. I think he's got so much ability. He's frightening. You know, he kicks goals. He's very strong. He's got great length from his kicking out the hand. He's just a fantastic specimen. And the only thing that does worry me is very, very quiet. And you know, communication is so vital in the modern game that you know, maybe sometimes that goes against him because he is so quiet. But he has no doubt got ability to perform at this level, and you know, he's got to find that consistency and make this, you know, position his own now.
What do you want him to do then, Jonathan? How do you grab a game? Do you just talk more?
Well, you've got to talk more. Your body language, you've got to be enthusiastic, and because for a lot of the time, you know, you're not involved in the game. You've got to keep your mind switched on. You know, you've got to be focused. You've got to be, you know, supportive of other players. And I think you've got to be talking to the forwards, got to be talking to the scrum half, and then communicating with your backline, because that, you know, doesn't matter how the game has changed. You know, people think it's changed a lot. It's all about the communication between forwards and backs, and 9 and 10, and 10 most of the time is the vital player. So it's just up to him now. Tonight will be a great test to see if he can perform and just make that position his own.
Thanks, Jonathan. It's all about communication, and the person who has to communicate most with Gavin Henson is his coach, Lynn Jones. He's with Stuart.
Thanks, Eddie. Well, two changes in the lineup for this week, Lynn. One that sees Gavin Henson at outside half. I'm sure you'd settle for the same strike rate from him.
Yeah, certainly he's got a number of points when he came on, and he performed very well, and we all know he's a very good player. But either one is good enough for us. Sean Connor was equally as effective when he was on the park, but obviously doesn't carry the profile that Gavin Henson carries, unfortunately for Sean. But yeah, they're both very good players.
Yeah, certainly very positive outcome in that position. Positive reaction on the night, Lynn, as well. But you'll have had a chance to look at the tape now. Anything concern you? What have you been working on this week?
Well, we put a pace into the game. We're going to really try our hardest to maintain and keep a fast rhythm to the game. It's not going to be easy. Playing at home is not easy than coming up to Newport, Gwent here to play. But it's important that we take the game to them. We're expecting a particularly difficult time in the first 20. And it's important for us that we don't concede too many points in that period. We conceded a few turnover tries last week, and we've looked at our scramble defence, which we've tried to organise, and for people to realise where they need to be when they're running backwards as well as forwards.
Thanks, Lynn.
Ospreys coach Lynn Jones. Mike, just a word first on Gavin Henson.
I think he finds it easier coming off the bench because there's less pressure on him. I think when you start a game and you have to run it and take the instructions on, I think one thing we shouldn't forget, he's only 21 and he hasn't played an awful lot of rugby. And I think, you know, when Jonathan was younger, when he came into the side, he had an awful lot of games that he could play for Neath, that he could get his confidence. And Henson's been under the spotlight hugely. And, you know, to try and grab games like this by the scruff of the neck.
Surely at 21, though, you should have had enough under your belt to be able to. If you're that talented.
Yes, I think if you're talented, but it's different if you're in a position like 10 where you have to run it. I mean, the thing with Jonathan, you know, he blossomed because he could never shut up on the field and he was so confident. But, you know, John, he had only 12 games for Neath, I can hear him struggling. But
everybody's arguing with you tonight.
Yeah. No, but I think give Henson time. He needs games at 10 to sort of to stamp his authority. He's been used all over that. He's been played at fullback, he's been played on the wing. He needs a chance at 10 to establish himself.
Okay, I mean, there are lots of other Ospreys apart from Gavin Henson. They do have a habit, or I know this is wrong, but Neath used to have a habit of winning a big one, then losing. Is this... Oh, there's the Dragon side.
I think the back row is... Look at that back row there. Van Rensburg, Forster and Oakley. I think that, you know, sort of... that is outstanding. And the pack as well. It's all there on paper.
There's nothing wrong with that pack at all. You know, Ian Goff, Peter Sidoli had a good game in the line out against Llanelli, 3/4. Well, Steve Wynn, he felled Celesi Fino.
Yeah. The other 10, of course, we haven't spoken about, who had an impact on the clubs, is Lee Jarvis.
Yeah.
He's come back for the Dragons. You know, Ruddock's taken a bit of a gamble on him. Lynn Jones didn't want him. There's a lot for him to prove now as well.
Scott Gibbs, one sweet little pass to put in Dave Tuetti last week.
Quality, absolute quality. That was, I think his leadership of the side was excellent as well. But again, battle of the back rows. Gavin Thomas, Pugh, man of the match last week, and Bater. That's a strong explosive. And Luke Tate as well holding his position there. You know, the Blues didn't want him. Again, Lynn Jones thinking he can make some of him. So there's some interesting selections.
Richie Pugh had a very good game at 7.
He came from nowhere last week. It was fantastic.
Yeah. The Dragons at home. I mean, if this is going to be Fortress Rodney Parade, they really have to start now. There is no time to just ease your way into this Celtic League. You've got to make your home ground fearsome.
That's the problem for Mike Ruddock, and the problem for the Dragons behind the scenes there. They've got to try and galvanise the Gwent public to come and support them, to get the same atmosphere that the Newport used to have. You can see, look, they're still all wearing the Newport jerseys, and that's what they've got to get the public behind them. And the problem, to get the public behind them, they've got to win. And Mike Ruddock's got to do it with a side that are a bit of a mix and match. So it's a big challenge for them.
The Ospreys coming out onto Rodney Parade. Let's join our match commentators, Jonathan Davis and Gareth Charles.
Thanks very much, Ed. Scott Gibbs, the Ospreys captain, as he is. And just a word, interestingly, on Neath last week. Yes, there's been plenty of talk about it on the website, the Scrum 5 website as well. And possibly the best idea of all from Fids the Blindside, who says that we should donate £1 to charity every time we get the name wrong. And I'll certainly go for that. I'll hold you that. So every time I do get the name wrong this week, then it'll be £1 for a named charity at the end of the season. But they did all come in the beginning of the game. A fair play to Mike Hall. He's the only one who kept the clean sheet and called them Ospreys. He's younger than us though, Jonathan. Maybe he hasn't lost as many brain cells as the rest of us.
No. I think one of the interesting things about the Ospreys is a change at number 8. You know, Nathan Bonner-Evans had a big impact on the Neath side, and because maybe they didn't play that well last week, they've got that strength in depth, and that's why James Bater has been played at number 8, and Gavin Thomas is on the pitch. So, but the back row will be very, very awkward tonight. But one thing I think the Dragons will do, they will keep it tight, because I think the result is far more important than the performance tonight for these.
Andy Marinos leading the Gwent Dragons, possibly the Newport Gwent Dragons, or as he'd like to call them, just the straight Dragons.
Well, that's £1 each from every spectator, because I heard them shout Newport, Nick.
That
So some charity's going to be okay.
That's going to be very interesting, because last week when Newport, the club, played a home match here, there was some 5,000 here, and the cry immediately this evening is Newport, Newport. So not quite a united region here off the field. They need to be on it after losing last week at Stradey Park. Alan Rowland, the Irishman, in charge this evening. And the one change in the Dragons side, Lee Jarvis, a former Neath player, and Mike Ruddock wants him to prove a point against some former colleagues. He's the one who gets things underway. Second week of the new season. And once again, two Welsh regions come head to head. Henson misses the bounce. Brew doesn't. That's Nathan Brew. Andy Marinos straight in there. Rodri Jones finds Brett Davey next to him. Hoists the high one behind Dave Tuetti, who makes a bit of a mess of it. Ball kept alive. Steve Wynn trying to stay in field, and Chris Anthony with good support. So there too is Sean van Rensburg, but it just went forward. And the defensive lapse immediately from the Ospreys. Dragons couldn't quite capitalise.
Yeah, very strong start by the Dragons. Just get over the advantage line. Bit of a strange decision by Brett Davey to go for the corner, but I think he had no option really. The pass, was slow. He was behind everyone, so he had no option.
Stay on, back row, use it!
the Dragons' scrum against the Llanelli Scarlets last week was very sound indeed, and they do have 5-stone advantage over the Neath-Swansea Ospreys. The Ospreys doing well enough to afford Gavin Henson the chance to kick long downfield. Brett Davey, stab meant for open space, play on, says the referee, no late tackle, and Elvis Seveali tries to find some space. Steve Wynn and Rhys Oakley bring him down right on halfway. Durston back inside to Tuetti, and come off his wing and breaks through well. Barry Williams on the switch, holds it one hand, Gibbs in there straight away, Henson on the outside, Henson, lovely pass to Durston, that left foot step back to Henson again, he's back up on his feet, just 5 metres from the try line. Ospreys go in for it, but it doesn't come out in time for them. But the Ospreys carrying on where they left off last week. It's get the ball away from the breakdown and make best use possible.
Here's the end of that. Good defence by the Dragons. I think the referee there just got in the way, which created the opportunity for the Ospreys.
Steady, please. Hold up, please. I want it steady, please. Whites, take the pressure. Blacks, keep it steady. There's your mark. Come in closer. Come in closer.
Chris Anthony on the tight head for the Dragons. Played for Swansea many moons ago before going to Newport. Pick up by James Bater. Nicely laid back. Williams to Henson. Henson, Durston, as the Dragons try and drift across field. It's well ripped by Oakley. And that gives Brett Davey a chance to boom it downfield. Richie too is the first man back there. Trying to keep his eye on the bounce and trying to keep his feet. Crashing into Davey, who's following up his kick. Gibbs straight down the middle, throws off Andy Marinos. Andy Williams to Gavin Henson. Angles it for the corner. No chasers up there, no pressure on Nathan Brew. He can calmly take his time.
Yeah, enough time to make a cup of tea.
Oh dear me.
Here it is, look, this is the inside ball. I think Coffey just says he gets in the way there. You know, that's what they do, you know, they number up both the open side and the short side of the maul. They're trying to attack the bigger men, and the referee did get in the way there.
It was meant for Luke Tate, but straight into the waiting hands of Jason Forster.
He was standing over you legally. You held it on, okay?
And he's the one who's penalised. His knees were on the floor and he was still in possession.
Yeah,
on. He got isolated.
Jason Forster was screaming to the other forwards, you've got to get there. He had to keep on a hold of the ball, had no option, gave the penalty away.
Sean Connor had 67% success rate with his kicking last week. Jonathan was suggesting maybe it needs to be up in the 80% mark these days.
More sides have got, you know, world-class goal kickers now, and some as the games get tighter, kicking is very important.
And Henson's first attempt of the evening just crawls in the near side post, but that'll do. Doesn't matter how or where, they're all worth 3 points in the end, and that 3 points gives the Ospreys the first of the evening.
There he is, Gavin Jenkins, was employed by the Ospreys, working on their academy side. That's what we need, you know, players like Garin, developing these youngsters.
And he is throwing himself into his new job with the under-21, says Gavin Jenkins. Loving it. Andy Williams back in Wales after a few seasons up in Bath. And he's another one who's really enjoying himself.
Out of the line, you're in or you're out? You're in or you're out?
Yeah, And that was for Sean van Rensburg leaving the line out.
Henson certainly got some boot on him. Davey just steadies himself. And again, just goes for the little stab over the top, trying to put it into space. Brett Davey joined from Pontypridd, of course, over the summer. So we've got Percy Montgomery waiting in the wings when his 6-month ban is over.
There's been a quick substitution in the Ospreys backline. Tweety is off.
Dave Tweety just hobbling off as they took the line out this near side. Scott Gibbs, lovely dancing feet and that familiar hand in the face of a would-be tackler. The referee is very sharp on that aspect of play though. People hanging on to the ball or people supporting and not staying on their feet.
Okay.
There is the replacement for Dave Tweety. That's Gareth Morris. That's his first touch. Brett Davey has had a fair bit of kicking to do from hand in these opening 7.5 minutes. Hasn't found touch that time. Durston on the counter. Barry Williams sets it up for namesake Andy. James Story not quite sure what to do. In the end, pile drive tackle.
Black ball, going forward.
At least the Ospreys will have the scrum from it. Dave Tweety hobbled off the field and is in a bit of bother there.
Where you went, they were.
Yeah, it's, I think there was ice. He had some problems on his shins.
Gareth Morris, the replacement, in the wing or a fullback. Henson ready to take the hit that time from the flat ball. Gavin Thomas trying to clear, but ripped away by Jason Forster. Now can the Dragons work something down this side? Nathan Brew presents it to Andy Marinos, who can't control it. It's gone forward, and no advantage coming.
There's a good steal off Steve Wynn there. An opportunity to spread on the short side. There's Nathan Brew. Manos gets the ball. A good hit on him by Luke Tate. The first 9 minutes certainly been all Ospreys. Good field position.
The little pop-up puts Gibbs in half a gap. Jarvis just about drags him down. That won't be a sight Lee Jarvis will want to see too often this evening. Scott Gibbs charging at him. But again,
very good play there.
A hand back on the floor.
I think it was Jason Forster committed the tackle, and that was a turnover. Good steal by Forster.
He's a real 100%er, Jason Forster.
Oh, he's been a very good player for the last decade. Very underrated, played a lot of sems. You know, he's a very good back row forward.
Blacks, out please, out.
Again, Bedford, Newport, on his way to the Gwent Dragons.
Stay! That's okay, stay!
Reece Oakley with a take that time. Rodri Jones. Jarvis with the up and under, the tester for the Ospreys back three. Savayali comes through with flying colours. And he's away. He's got a line outside him, needs to link up. Good take by Durston. Gibbs. Story. Henson goes for the quick flick on. Slightly behind Gareth Morris, so he had to stop. Gibbs really getting stuck in these opening stages, as are some back row boys, as Van Rensburg comes through.
You've got to come back around and tackle through the gate. Do not try and slow down the quick ball, please. Okay, thank you very much. Back around. Penalties here.
Yeah, played that ball from an offside position, Van Rensburg.
Ospreys arriving late for the line-out. The Dragons just trying to count the numbers. Meant for Baker. Sidoli got in there ahead of him. That's a good drive on, superb drive on from the Dragons. Still going. Reece Oakley eventually comes to ground on the 10-metre line, and they took it inside their own 22. Marinos cuts back, but there's no way through. Goff. It's behind his man, looks to try and release the ball. Rodri Jones to Jarvis. Brett Davey. Again, it's pretty slow behind. Van Rensburg. James Bater was the one who just crept up in front of the back feet on the blind side.
Well, that's what they're going to try and do, but they need field position yet. You mentioned how big a kicker Gavin Henson is. This guy Lee Jarvis can kick a ball as well, let me tell you.
Lee Jarvis, the one change in the Dragons team, instead of Craig Warlow. Goff arrives late, Sidoli down to the front, and for Goff at the tail, just about got there. Van Rensburg spills it though.
Knock on, advantage.
So does Paul James.
Double knock on.
So does Andy Williams.
First by white, then by black.
So no choice for Alan Rowland except to go back to the original knock on. And this was the one. There she goes.
Fellas, here's the mark.
That's poor play, good line-out ball.
Closer.
Just silly, basic errors by the Dragons, and that's why, you know, they haven't had good field position.
Get on, back row, get on!
Well, Gavin Henson got plenty of distance on it, but didn't find the touch he was looking for. He now calls for and gathers Brett Davies' kick, but Steve Wynn almost presented with the interception. It has gone forward from the former Swansea centre's hands.
Bit of a hot potato there, I think.
There's been quite a few handling errors in this opening quarter of an hour, mostly coming the way of the Dragons.
Having a word. Engage. Up, please, thank you, keep it up.
Durston is the nearest man to the scrum. Gavin Henson lying a bit deeper on the far side. There he is. It is Henson who receives. And a bit safety first from the Ospreys that time.
I just, you know, the situation, one-on-one, you know, Henson versus Lee Jarvis, you just sometimes think, have a crack at him, take him on. If you don't beat him, okay, you tell your back row forward what you're going to think of doing, so he gets there first. Just giving up a bit of possession now.
And they need to be wary, because this is the area where the Dragons proved so effective a few minutes ago. Been blocked this time. Van Rensburg again, not under too much pressure, and he'll be disappointed with his handling.
Well, it's a weight to the pass, and watch how tough this pass is, but just no communication there whatsoever.
He's such an important cog in the Dragons' wheel as a ball carrier, Sean Van Rensburg, so he needs to hang on to those. Henson on the half volley that time, and that sometimes works. It fixes defenders sometimes when the ball goes to ground. The defence stayed firm.
Number 10 got isolated, 7 was legal and he was over you. Must release.
And Henson and Richie Pugh between them contrived to give away the kick.
I'm sure that was a word of encouragement, wasn't it, nice?
I know that Alan Rowland is looking to keep the ball alive to make it a quick game, but in calling so many of them, is a very stop-start affair so far.
I played with Alan Roland for the Irish Wolfhounds in the Hong Kong Sevens, so know him quite well.
There is the Scrum 5 website address that so many of you made use of last week. I'm sure many of you will take advantage of it again this.
Great tackle, stopped him in his tracks.
Salayali back to Durston. Just hammers it along downfield. Davey this time sweeps it out and gives Ben Rees a chance to run. Fancy running too far though. Henson took his time, really took his time, and almost had it charged down by Ben Rees. Now then, can the Dragons build up from here? Not with so many defenders approaching Lee Jarvis. So, ping pong continues. Danger of getting a stiff neck here, the way the ball is going back and forth. Here we go again.
It's going to bring the crowds in.
Here we go this time. There we are. Well, it was a decent kick from Henson that time, but really neither side willing to take on opponents, looking for the opposition to make mistakes.
Hang on a second, please.
3-2-9-1, tap!
The referee's in trouble with his microphone at the moment.
I'm not ready.
Numbers! 3-2-9-1!
Sorted his wiring out. Play can continue.
Stay!
Van Rensburg hoisted high. Chris Anthony
He's isolated.
lost it. At the moment, nobody can control that ball, can they? So much spilt ball.
That's a rock!
They've got a low up this side.
Story came on the switch. Durston hits the hole though, with the tackle from Marinos. Knocked it clear and knocked it forward.
That was an opportunity because they worked the overlap. But the Dragons, you know, they can't do anything at the moment. It's a short ball, hits the hole. It's a very good tackle by Marinos. But the Dragons have got to try and just hold on to the ball, you know. So many handling errors, they're not going to... If they want to keep it tight and do the rolling moors, they've got to do it, you know, in the opposition 22.
Hold on. Engage. Stay on side, 9, you're offside.
It's Andy Williams, a scrum half, who just popped up offside. He's opposite number Rodri Jones, thinking about a quick one. No wonder he's shaking his head.
Yeah, I think he'll be a lot happier than Mike Ruddock, because when they are getting ball, you know, they seem to be looking rather dangerous.
That's the first quarter done, and no clear-cut chances for either side.
That's your line, fellas. That's your line.
It's Mike Ruddock with Clive Griffiths alongside him.
That's their line.
It's the Gwent Dragons coaching duo. And that's gone wrong. Well, Richie Pugh, a free take at the back. And again, forced it and lost it, rather than just laying it back and waiting for the drive over. Sidoli.
Roll away, tackle!
Warning for Barry Williams to roll away. The ball is on its way back. Rodri Jones has a snipe. Taken by Andy Williams.
Roll away, tackle!
Paul Young. That's the Ospreys 22 in the background. Marinos comes back on the short angle. Richie Pugh brings him down. I'm not quite sure where the ball was. Chris Anthony is floored by his opposite number, Andrew Millward.
He was turning there. I'd like to see this again.
Skipper.
See who's got to say.
we're restarting with a penalty. Just ask him to keep it down. Yeah, I know he dipped. Yeah, I know he dipped into it and took it high, right? But I want you to keep it down, okay?
Sorry,
Thank you. All right.
It's a high tackle penalty, and I'm sure they will go for goal. He does turn, and he is going down. From that angle, you can't really see where the connection was made. But you know, sometimes you've got to go high, just just try and dislodge the ball. And yeah, that was high, and this now should be 3-all.
Lee Jarvis has his first chance for points in the new season. Safely negotiated, and the Gwent Dragons are back on level terms. 22 minutes played, it's 3 points all.
They'd be happy that he had one big hit in this game.
3 points all here. After 22 minutes play, the game between Munster and Llanelli in Thomond Park in Limerick just about to kick off. And we'll keep you in touch with the way things develop there as well. The Scarlets travelling to Munster, who are champions. It's a real task for them.
Taken in, scrum it down.
Very good chase there, and Durston was turned the wrong way, but he was taken, went to ground. Here we go, watch him. It's a great tackle, Nathan Brew, turns it the wrong way. I think Pugh done exceptionally well there, because if he wasn't there, they would have lost that ball.
Stay on, stay on. Roll away, tackler.
James Bate there with a pickup. Andy Williams to Gavin Henson. Straight out to James Story. Gets back inside. Henson on the loop this time. Asking far too much of Gareth Morris. Can the Dragons take advantage? Van Rensburg. Well, the crowd thought that Gibbs was in high on Van Rensburg. And things just kicking off there. And Sean Van Rensburg and Scott Gibbs. A little confrontation. A little wink as well, though.
I saw number 12 coming in, Black, with use the elbow. Okay. In the tackle, no use for the use the elbow. We're getting 10 minutes in the bin, and we're restarting with the penalty here, okay?
Much to the delight of the home crowd, Scott Gibbs is deemed to have gone in with a swinging arm on Sean Van Rensburg, and it'll be 10 minutes in the bin for the Ospreys captain.
Well, let's see what happens here. There's Van Rensburg. There was not much, was there?
It was more of a grab than anything.
Yeah, it was a bit of an open hand. The touch judges love coming in. That was an open hand. It's a physical game. We've got to accept it.
The result, though, is another chance for Lee Jarvis. Superbly struck.
That is a great kick, that is. I tell you, that is such a difficult kick. On the touchline, just a lovely strike, and 10 minutes in the bin, 3 points.
So, a double blow. And that brings cries of Newport around Rodney Parade. Just what we'd expected, really. Nathan Brew struggling hard to make sure that possession is retained. Lee Jarvis buoyed with 2 successful penalties. It's in a very decent touch finder as well.
Support came quickly enough.
Mike Ruddock saying midweek that the pre-season games, fairly inconclusive, so he was always going to give one game to Craig Warlow and one to Lee Jarvis to have a look at them in the opening couple of games. And Henson, after his 27 minutes, his successful 27 minutes last week, and who's placed a 10 on merit.
But you can't have two people standing at scrum half. Okay?
I was quite surprised that Neath didn't shorten the line out there and get the back rowers into midfield, because they were a centre off the field and they had to carry ball. And Gavin Henson had really no option rather than kick there, because they were a centre short behind. So a little bit more thinking on the park by the Neath and Swansea Ospreys.
Audrey Jones. That's a handy one. Samayali took it very well indeed, and away and running. Looks to link up. Lovely pick up by Durston. Floats it out, didn't go forward, and Gareth Morris cares for the corner. Story, oh, the line was there, and he just lost it.
And who else?
The nearest to come to a try.
Forster. Good play by Sevaili. He gets away, flicks a ball, and the next pass, that is the pass that creates his opportunity. Lee Jarvis does well to get across. Lovely flick pass. That's very, very good play by Jason Forster. Forces the knock on.
Superb covering by the Dragons' open side. Jarvis cutting off the route for James Story.
On the mark, please. Second.
One step.
Hold. Engage. Tight, please.
And the Dragons
Riding him up out of the scrum.
get the penalty as well to clear the lines. So the covering in the corner by Jarvis and Forster together, proving vital for them to keep that line intact.
Need movement first, okay? You know what I mean? All right. I know.
James Story, maybe on reflection, will think he should have got his name on the score sheet.
Lovely pass here. Well, that's a great tackle, Jason Forster. Story would have thought that should have done a little bit better.
Can the Dragons use this with Scott Gibbs off the field, remember? But it's slow ball. Maybe for once they didn't need to go for the drive from the line out, just get it out there and see where the gaps are in midfield.
Yeah, what they've got to do is just maybe throw the ball to the back of the line out, tie the back row up, so that then they can exploit the space in midfield with a with a lack of Scott Gibbs in the centre. But they will move the back row about. They will take people out. The Ospreys will, to defend the midfield. But you've just got to try and tie them in and then spread, because you have got the one-man overlap, and you've got to try and use it. As we see, Pugh has gone out now into the line out, because for some reason the Dragons shortened their line out.
Great burst by Gavin Thomas. Superb work from the tail of that line out. And the Dragons come round. And it's there for Richie Pugh to use. And I think Alan Rowland may well be putting another man in the bin from here.
You cannot win. Listen to me. Listen to me. All right? I will see with the tackler. Okay? You went in with the knee. Listen, you went in with the knee. Foul play. Lost
so
10
frustrating.
minutes in the bin.
That is so frustrating for the Ospreys. The ball was being killed, and Gavin Thomas is the one who's been penalised for going in with his knee, so they're down to 13.
This is pure frustration. First of all, it's a bad throw. Why the Dragons shortened it, I don't know. And then as the ball comes, I watch the number 6, he gets up, and I think someone is in there. You can't see it from there. But there's a knee in the back instead of using his feet, and that's why he's in the bin.
The Ospreys were the ones who took it in. They were the ones who were desperate for quick ball to keep the attack going. The ball was slowed down and frustration crept in from Gavin Thomas.
And if he'd have rucked him, what would happen? They'd have had the penalty, and maybe one of the drivers would have been in the bin.
Steve Wynn. And now this is a precarious time for the Ospreys. They're down to 13 men. They'll be keeping an eye on that clock. Big hit in on Gareth Morris.
No, it's not out.
The ball safely secured.
Stay.
Adrian Durston as scrum half. Gavin Henson. And they'll be happy to get it off the park and try and watch the hands of the clock tick down and get one of the 2 sin bin players back on.
Here's the incident. On the right hand side, there's Gavin Thomas. He goes in, gets frustrated, and that is a right knee because the guy's laying on the ball, and you can't do it. You've got, if you even put his foot on him, you might have got away with it. If you knee someone, it's lucky to have just 10 minutes. There was no malice, really, wasn't it? Nasty. Total frustration.
Peter Sidoli took the line-out ball. It's been brought back down, but it's been smuggled away. Jarvis cut out past to Brett Davies, straight out to Ben Greaves. Not used as well as it should be again by the Dragons. Can they do it coming back in the opposite direction? Head down charge from Andy Marinos. Van Rensburg came off his foot, not knocked on. Rodby Jones gets tied in there. Anthony Oakley. Jarvis, there's a big gap there. Back is Andy Williams. He's the only one there for the Ospreys, and
he's
he
offside.
was so glad
Stephen
to
Wynn,
see the touchline.
Stephen Wynn was offside there. Clearly offside.
There is Steve Wynn chasing it. Andy Williams, the only one back.
I think Steve Wynn, the centre, overrun that ball slightly and using an offside position. And only 3 points in 10 minutes.
And that was immediately that Scott Gibbs went off. He now is back on. So the Ospreys are back up to 14. Sidoli with a line-out take again. The try line beckons for the drive. It's not going to happen from that pile-up. Jarvis opts for the drop goal instead. No, chance gone.
If you can't score against 13 men in the professional game, you know, it says something for your offensive qualities. You know, they've got to, you know, look at where the weaknesses are, where there are numbers short, and try and exploit it. You know, his point is keeping it tight because, you know, from 30, 40 metres out, you're not going to get anywhere.
Sorry, fellas, now twitching my hamstring, all right?
You have, Alex.
I have. It went over here, okay? Yeah. I can't continue.
Ah, well,
Right.
that'll be something. The referee, Alan Rowland, says he's done his hamstring, so he's going to leave the field. So you're still fitter than him then, Jonathan.
It's not that bad a game, really, for the referee to walk off, is it? Come on now, Alan. Stay on there.
The hamstring's gone, so a change will have to be made.
Hammer.
And it'll be David Davis of Llanbradach who will take over the duties, it looks like. Which probably means that Hopkin Thomas will move up to take over the touch judge's duties.
I'm sure Llanbradach is in Gwent, isn't it? So it'll be very interesting to see how this game
Don't
goes.
start now, they'll only write in on the website. Is it in Dragonland though? That's the question. Who's as fierce as Gwent, Jonathan? Now there departs Alan Rowland.
I think he's got a table booked in Le Monde for Upper State, I think, Alan Rowland does. But, as he is,
Pobl y cwm. Not as fast as that though, yw garedig. It's a new job.
So David Davis will have the last, well, it'll probably be about 10 minutes or so, including stoppage time for a swap of referees in this first half and a fresh 40 in the second. I hope somebody's keeping an eye on the clock as to what's happening with the one man who's still off the field, and that's Gavin Thomas.
Oops.
Getting the old ice packed on and taped on immediately on that left hamstring. A lot of toing and throwing in the line. Case of one more time, please, gentlemen, but this time properly. Today's dummy lift, and it's gone against the Ospreys. Reece Oakley on the charge. That's a great burst from Adam Black. Sidoli in support. Marinos can't hold. Sidoli did. Technically, I think he's in front of his own man. That could have been an offside. Lee Jarvis with a little stab through, and the try has come to Ben Breeze. And it is the Dragons who break the deadlock. Not exactly the way they planned it, but they'll take it anyhow.
No, very good play by the Dragons forwards, and very good reading of the situation by Lee Jarvis. I felt they might have gone the wrong side, but he saw Ben Breeze, and it's a lovely little deft kick. This is the end. Look at that outside of the foot. Ben Breeze come flying onto it. He did exceptionally well to guard that and finish. Very good try. See Millward, the two props are there. The Ospreys props are there. Ben Breeze comes steaming down the middle. And by the time Morris reacts, it's a try.
Lee Jarvis, whose deft little kick set up the first try of the evening, now has the chance to open up a 10-point gap with half-time approaching. Straight down the middle once again for Lee Jarvis. He's passed 200 points in Celtic League matches in this game, and he's opened up a gap of 13 points to 3 in favour of the Dragons.
There we are, they go from right to left, a late run, and as he puts the grubber in there, you got, in fact, the three front rowers there, and Ben Breeze is just going to sail in.
Into stoppage time at the end of the first half. I don't think the Ospreys, after last week's showing, would expect to be trailing like this, but it's been hard work for them, and they've suffered with 2 sin binnings. Chances few and far between. One taken by Ben Breeze. Johnson quick the charge down, but bounces back into his hands. Lucky break for the outside half. Kirsten, Story, and for a handoff from Steve Wynn back up. Johnson, Savayali in midfield. Gibbs, Bader, and looking to get quick hands, get the ball away from that cluttered midfield area. Dragons defending well. Oh, there's a big bash between the two props. a bit of an arm as well to get in there.
Yeah, like the bumpers.
Oh, that was a real long-range attempt from Gavin Henson. Very speculative indeed.
Yeah, all offside in midfield. We're not going through phases. I think that's the difficulty. Watch this. Whoop. There's a swinging arm coming up here. Whoop.
Oh.
The battle going on there. Well, as I said, we're not going through the phases. So, you know, when they do get the ball, their defences are everywhere. So they need to just build phases, keep ball, go through the phases, and eventually work a weakness in the defence.
The Ospreys were trailing against Ulster at half-time last week. Came back strongly, very strongly in the second. This kick will put them back within a converted try. And it's very well struck indeed by Gavin Henson. Excellent penalty kick. Just what the Ospreys wanted with the last kick of the first half. And before Gavin Thomas has a chance to come back on and put the numbers up to 15, the referees called a halt to proceedings anyway. They all traipse off into the changing rooms, have a chat about it and see where things went wrong, where things went right, with the Gwent Dragons ahead by 13 points to 6.
Yeah, it's still very open. You know, the Dragons will be very happy with the last 15 minutes because they held onto the ball, got a field position, and you know, they put a lovely try in. I think the Ospreys have got to work on what they did the first 20 minutes and get quick ball and try and go through phases because they look the sharper side. But nothing to really say more about it. They've just got to get on with it and pick the tempo and the pace up and try and create more out wide.
So just the one try in that first half. Maybe the most noteworthy incident apart from that was the fact that Alan Rowland, the Irish referee, had to depart with a pulled hamstring. Not the most memorable of first 40s, I think, like we had last week anyway, and we are hoping for better fare in the second for the crowd that's turned out for the first time this season at Rodney Parade. It is a bit of a disappointing one. 13 points to 6. The Dragons lead the Ospreys. We can go pitch side to Stewart, who's with Jim McCready.
Yeah, thanks, Gareth. I managed to grab the team manager of the Dragons on his way to the dressing room. It wasn't a half that started well for you, but it did get progressively better.
That's right. We struggled to get in a bit of a rhythm early on. We won some quality ball, but I think we kicked too much away. Once we just found a little bit of rhythm, got some phases going, we played some nice stuff, and obviously the try coming at an opportune time.
Perhaps unsurprisingly in Gwent, I get the feeling that your forwards are looking to take this game on, and that the backs may be lacking the cutting edge behind, but when they're holding on to it, they are effective up front.
That's right. You know, I think everybody, all sides need a platform to play off, and that's what we're trying to establish. Get some good scrum ball, some good line-out ball. You know, get the phases going, and then play the rugby where we can. We certainly is not going out with the intention to play a forward-orientated game, but you know, sometimes you get sucked into these things. As I said earlier, we obviously kicked too much ball away earlier, but now we seem to have found a little bit of rhythm, and so we can keep it going second half.
It was a nice variation on the kick-in from Lee Jarvis, the grubber through that saw the try coming in the end. Confidence, well executed from him.
Excellent, yeah, and Ben followed up well, and let's hopefully we can score a couple more the second half.
Yeah, probably against 15 men though. Hard to work.
Well, they are. If you commit these fouls, you're going to get ticked off now.
Thanks for talking to us, Jim. Good luck. Back to you, Ed.
Apologies for the lights going out on Jim McCready. Gavin Henson opening the scoring for the Ospreys. Lee Jarvis returning the compliment. Penalties apiece. The Dragons go 2-1 up on the penalty count. 6-3 in the lead. Going nowhere really, apart from this near score from James Story. Great tackle by Jason Forster. Scott Gibbs then goes off. A little swinging right arm on Sean van Rensburg. The Ospreys captain off for a cooling 10 minutes. Hotly followed by Gavin Thomas. The Ospreys down to 13. Scott Gibbs comes back. The referee goes off. Torn hamstring for Alan Rowland. And just when we thought nothing was going to happen on the score sheet, Over goes Ben Breeze, courtesy of the little kick through by Lee Jarvis. Half-time score, 13 points to 6.
Yeah, so look at the stats, nothing to choose between territory and possession. I mean, far too many handling errors there from both sides. The Dragons 6, especially early on, they turned it over. Look at that, the Ospreys conceded 11 penalties. And you know, that's what sort of disrupted them. They started brightly, but you can't do it. And then that's why it's been a disappointing game. They've only been in the opposition 22, you know, sort of half a dozen times between them. So not a lot there really. I just feel that the Dragons, you know, they were trying to play a sort of a strong, mauling, forward-orientated game, and the Ospreys started brightly. I mean, it was just where they left off last week. There was some nice handling. You could see, want to play the way Lynn Jones likes.
Stop trying to be nice, Mike. It was a dross first half. It was dreadful. It was
I was going to say that the jerseys may have changed and the sort of names may have changed, but it was the same old thing we saw last year. There was too many errors.
Well, it's a Welsh dogfight, and it's just the danger you have when the two Welsh teams meet in the Celtic League.
They know each other too well.
They know each other, they kill the ball, there's no continuity, there's no chance. You can't blame the referees. There are just so many hands on the ball. We've got to get out of this mentality, because if this is preparation for international football, what will happen when we play international football? We'll get penalised off the park.
I think Lynn Jones will say that the Ospreys lost their way in that game because of the ill discipline, and that was probably a bit of niggle between the players, you know, Gibbsy and Van Rensburg there. That's why he went off, and then it was slowed down. Gavin Thomas again went off, and you can't play with 13 men, you know that. But I still think the Ospreys can get back where they played last, and they can still win this game.
Okay, well, they had a chance through James Story. Do you think he should have gone to the slide?
Yeah, I think he should have gone, you know. I think if you see the sort of the way sometimes the rugby league boys finish, and if you watch Ben Cohen the way he finishes, going nice low and hard, and you can see Durston does well actually to get the ball wide out the tackle, and then Gareth Morris as well realised he's not going to make it. Lovely step inside. Now I think just there where Story took the tackle, if he'd gone in really low and hard, I mean he's a big strong boy, he may have got there.
He was going for his favourite, wasn't he, the old handoff, I think.
Yeah, he was, and just look from this angle there, if he goes low there, I think he gets under Forster's tackle and he may score, but you know, Forster did fantastically well.
Elvis did well, Surveyali.
Yeah, he's sort of bright player for them, isn't he? Somebody new on the scene, and you know, he likes to take into the space, does well to offload there. Watch Forster, comes in for the tackle there. This is good open side play, because he just keeps tracking to the corner. He doesn't worry about somebody coming inside there. He's always picking up Story on the outside. He doesn't check his run. If he had checked his run, Story would have scored. So great open side play from Forster.
Yeah, the Dragons could do nothing really against 13 men. Scott Gibbs came back on up to 14, and then the Dragon scored.
Yeah, I think they started taking a more direct route with the forwards, and I think that's what we've got to see. Get over the gain line. You know, I think it's Adam Black, isn't it? You know, that's what we want to see. Look, now all of a sudden, they're in the game. You know, the forwards are handling.
A little knock-on offside there?
Possibly, but I thought this is quality here from Jarvis. I mean, we talked about Henson before. Jarvis, I think, was probably just growing into that shirt, and Ben Breeze took a lovely angle.
You wouldn't have penalised, because you don't allow, you don't think that things like...
I just want to see some rugby here.
Yeah, good finish by Ben Breeze, took it off his toes well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was the angle that he picked up was excellent, the communication between him and Jarvis, and I think we can have a look at it from this angle. You can see he wasn't expecting a pass. Just look at this angle he takes here, and that is great skill to finish like that. I think John mentioned in commentary, it is a big skill, you know, to pick that up and slide in. So one bit of quality in the half. Yeah,
the Dragons' line-out's been going all right. Jonathan was saying, you know, perhaps they shouldn't try the rolling more from too far out, but I don't know. If it's going well, you keep going, don't you?
I think the problem for the Dragons is lack of pace out wide. I don't think they've got a cutting edge at 13, at 15. Obviously, they got Percy Montgomery, who's not here, would add a lot to it. But you know,
but he won't be here for some time.
No, I know, that's a shame. But you know, there was one point in the match where Ben Breeze had 20 yards to work on the touchline, and he just booted it straight down the field. Now, to me, you know, if you're a winger and you've got that space, you take people on, and that's disappointing. And I think that they think their strengths lie in the forwards, and that's how they started off playing. And I think John has said people don't pay to watch that, they don't want to see it. So somewhere the Dragons have got to find a cutting edge behind. I think Newport struggled last year because they didn't have it, and similar vein tonight, I'm afraid.
Well, I don't know if they need it. If they haven't got it behind, then they could actually carry on up front, just give it a real blast up front. You know, it didn't serve Newport badly back in the days of Gary Teichmann.
No, it didn't, and that's traditionally how Newport and a lot of Gwent teams, I would say, have played in the past. I remember when yourself, Pontypool, never seemed to get it past number 10. But, you know, this the difference in styles. The Dragons, clearly, that's where they think their strengths are. They got Jarvis, the kicker, who's going to get the penalties when they're down there. The Ospreys, totally different. I think they want to play football. That's Lynn Jones's philosophy. He wants to play football. He wants to keep it in hand. possibly Mike Ruddock is just working with the tools he's got, though.
It's the multicultural force of Welsh rugby. You don't have to play alike. We don't want robo-cop rugby.
No, I agree with you. I think, but you know, it's got to work. Whichever pattern you use, it's got to work. And for that first sort of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, for neither side, it wasn't.
Okay, I think Stuart's found somebody to talk to. Well done, Stu.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. Indeed, Sean Hawley joined me from the Ospreys dressing room. A frustrated one, I should imagine, after that half.
Yeah, well, we're still quite calm. All credit to Gwent, you know, they're stopping us play. Obviously seen the tapes from last week, but all credit to them. And obviously with the amount of penalties we've given away, it's made it very difficult for us.
Calm in the dressing room, a little bit furious at times on the pitch. There's physicality, discipline, call it what you like, but it hurt you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's great to see. I mean, you know, it's another sort of aspect to regional rugby, I suppose. A good crowd and a lot of fire out there. But no, we've stayed focused, and hopefully now this half we can play a bit more football.
I think every time I come into focus here, they put the lights out and frighten the people at home. But what have you asked the guys for the second half now?
Really just keep their discipline and play in the right places. We need to catch and drive the line out a bit more and build a platform and really just build some phases, which we haven't been able to do in the first half.
That's torn to Sean. Boys are back out. Back to you, Ed.
Thank you, Stuart. Mike, what would you do?
I think if I was Lynn Jones now, and you know, behind you, they're going to need obviously to keep 15 players on the pitch to start with, but they got Bonner Evans on the bench again, like sort of last week. You know, bring somebody off who can change the game for them, and that's what I'd be looking at here. The Dragons, I think they're going to just carry on playing the way they have. You know, it's going to be up the jumper stuff and hope that Jarvis can put some points on the board.
Okay. Big crowd here at Rodney Parade. Dragons leading by 13 points to 6. Let's go back to the commentators.
Thanks very much, Ed. Yeah, the attendance, the official attendance this evening is 3,874. So some 400 down on what we had at the Knoll last week. There is the new Dragon looking to get the kids interested. Let's hope that the 30 men on the field follow that example and get everybody interested in this second quarter. Ben Breeze, the only try scorer in that first period. And David Davis doesn't get things underway as planned because James Story had got in front of the man restarting, and that's a basic error immediately from the Ospreys.
Well, he's clearly in front, and you know,
Hold it, please,
not
wait
the
for me.
start
Hold,
that the Ospreys would have wanted, and that's just a silly mistake.
Oh.
Jarvis has just drifted over this
Both
side,
sides,
and
just wait for the ball. I'll make sure it's in, all right?
Kevin
Come
Henston
on,
is a bit
crouch
late
and
in
hold.
spotting him.
Engage.
But
Hold it
the
there.
fact that the scrum went down not once but twice gave him plenty of time in the end.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Jarvis went for goal here.
Indeed he is.
And if they score, you know, from this now, it's just such a silly mistake. You know, just check your run. There's a little chip. You know, if you can't run 10 yards and start behind the kicker, well, you know, it's a really daft mistake. Which someone like Lynn Jones and Solly will be pulling their hair out.
Flicks up a little bit of grass just to test the wind. Conditions pretty good for the kickers. Lee Jarvis is a prodigious kicker. This one slap bang on halfway. Just pulled it.
Yeah. Always happens, doesn't it? He's not sure if he can get the distance. Just pulls it.
Quick restart, goes horribly wrong for the Ospreys, and Steve Wynn almost capitalised. Paul Young was there to squeeze it back for the Dragons. Marinos, you can see black all around him, needs those white shirts in there, and there they are getting the ball back. Jarvis, Nathan Brew comes off his wing, but Scott Gibbs stays with him. Steve Wynn. The flankers work. The pick up and drive. Marinos.
No, you're all right in the line. Stay there.
Rodri Jones to Jarvis. Steve Wynn again goes for the gap. That time it was Andy Newman to the tackle.
Leave the ball, please. Play it.
Long period of pressure from the Dragons. Here they come again. Rodri Jones, Sean van Rensburg, Gavin Thomas with a tackle. Brett Davey up in the line, held by Story, picked up by James Bater, perfectly allowed to do it, he was on his feet. And that should be Ospreys' ball. But the penalty has gone against them.
Shattered, no! 4! You got tackled, you get straight in on top of him, please. He won the ball, you went straight in on top of him.
I don't think Andy Newman agrees with that decision.
Well, Jim Bader did extremely well there. You know, he just waited and got the ball, and he said didn't stay on his feet. So this will be interesting. Watch him. There's Bader, gets over him with the strap on his knees. It's very difficult. He just goes to ground slowly, doesn't he, Andy Newman? So that's what he was penalised for.
Applause from the crowd is because the Gwent Dragons are effecting a change while the penalty is being lined up. Straight open side swap. Jamie Ringer coming on for Jason Forster. Lee Jarvis, 3 successes in the first half. The long-range miss in the second. And that's followed by a shorter range miss.
Won't be happy with those 2 kicks, really.
This time though, the Ospreys reconsider going for the quick restart from the 22.
They've made 2 mistakes now, one from, well, both from kickoffs.
Leave the ball, stay there, 6, stay there. You had the ball in your hands, 9.
Lee Jarvis was lying deep, and Marinos couldn't quite understand what was happening as the ball went whizzing past him. It was meant to Jarvis, the kicker. James Bater takes it quickly. Adrian Durston, all young, is the one who brings him down.
Leave the ball wide, leave it wide.
Henson weighs up the kicking options and makes the break.
Gotta leave it wide, leave it.
Andy Williams with a kind of
Get off it, Mike, leave the ball.
half metre. We saw him gaining on a couple of occasions last week. Henson gets the pass out of the tackle to Gavin Thomas.
No, ball's there.
Yeah, good communication there by 10 and 6. Must have said he was going to go try and get over the tackle with his hands.
That's much better from the Ospreys. Gareth Morris has men outside him. Gibbs, Story tries to cut back inside Brew. James Story still going, and James Story gets over. That is a very, very well worked try by the Neath-Swansea Ospreys. Good build-up, good patient build-up, kept the ball alive, and James Story makes it to the try line.
Yeah, very good use of the short side as well. Off the tackle, I think that's Pew. Ball comes out, Gibbsy, early ball, that's what you want, early ball, then support. Unfortunately, missed tackles by Nathan Brew. Cover doesn't get there quick enough, and Story's over. And the Ospreys are back in the game. And all the pressure in this half with the Dragons. Nothing from it, 2 missed penalties, didn't score with the pressure that they put on, and now they've conceded some points.
The crowd silent as Gavin Henson pops over the conversion and puts things back on an even keel. The Ospreys strike soon after the restart, and they're level at 13 points all. Richie Pugh with the feed, and this open side is having a great start to the season, and they're looking to keep the ball away from the tackle area, keep it alive, and they're rewarded with a very well worked try. Marinos picks up the loose bouncing ball. Now can the Dragons work something with quick ball this time? Chris Anthony
Let it go, Black.
Paul James with the tackle.
Get back, Black.
There he comes again. Marinos again. Inside in is Rhys Oakley. Makes it back. Gibbs tries to turn him. And does. But it is still Dragons' ball. Everybody cramped over in that far space. Gwent forces it back to Brett Davey. And it is available again for them to use. Ian Goff. Goff breaks 2 tackles into the 22.
Go on, Bolsey, go on. Go on, play it.
Chris Anthony saved the Dragons that time. Nathan Grew. Far more Osprey defenders than there were Dragon attackers on that left-hand side of the field. But still, they've hung on to possession well.
Went down. Black driving forward. Black ball.
But that sound and numerous defence from the Ospreys wins them the put-in at the scrum.
Yeah, good leg work in that tackle. Gibbs was in there and just drove Nathan Brew back. And that'll relieve the pressure that they're under.
You want any lads coming in here, Black? Okay. Front rows, props. Let's have your hands off the deck, please. Let's have it binding, not down there. That's just going to go down all the time. Right. Second. Wait for him. Wait. Second row there. Just engage. Right, hold it there, boys. Hold it there. Good. Stay there, flanker. Use it. Good. That's balls out. Balls out.
Dragon get the wheels on. James Bater under pressure, but copes with it very well.
Stay there, 6. Stay there, 6. Stay there.
Henson lying deep. But people coming in from the side.
Driving up the side.
Clearing Sean van Rensburg, who was just trying to bundle Adrian Durston off the ball.
And now, instead of having the ball back from a kick to touch, they will now have possession. Now Henson will kick into their half and the Ospreys will have possession. So we'll just leave them have it. Let's get into this mentality of leaving them have it and just defending.
That is the kind of situation where it is pretty pointless wasting time and energy going for the kind of ball that isn't usable anyway.
Here we are, okay?
Nice take by Luke Tate.
Get away, stay there, not take your feet. Get back, no, get
James
away,
Bater
get away.
in control.
Let the ball come. Ball's there.
Henson missed it. It wasn't the best of passes behind him. Gibbs did well to avoid the swinging arm of Jamie Ringer. Story finds some space, so the bounce wasn't kind. But it's offside in midfield anyway. Scott Gibbs isn't shirking any responsibilities.
Gibbs didn't say anything, just get on with it. Slap in the face by Jamie Ringer.
Now, he may be the wrong side of 30, Scott Gibbs, but he is looking fired up and keen.
Forwards, get back a bit
More
quicker.
so than I've seen him for many a day.
Yeah, I was talking to Hugh Bevan, the fitness coach. He's put a lot of hard work in pre-season. He wants to make this successful. He's been part of Neath and Swansea, and he, just forget what we did as a individual club. Just let's drive this region on. That's what he wants to do. And you couldn't have a better captain.
And that cut clip we saw from him, showing what he got for his efforts last time up.
He lives by the sword and he's prepared to die by the sword, and it's just, none of this namby-pamby kind of stuff. Just get on with it.
Andy Newman at the front for the Ospreys. Andy Williams to Gavin Henson. Henson going for the hole. Ringer hanging on to him. Gibbs in there as well, releasing.
That's all right, the ball's on the deck. No, leave it.
Well-formed Dragons defence.
That's all right, good ball.
Andy Newman does a sensible thing, just takes it on over the gain line, and he's won the penalty, which is the best they could have hoped for from that position, and it'll do because it should be 3 easy points.
Skip. If they're going to tackle and just lie on top and not make any attempt to move, I'm going to yellow card them, all right? Tackle, move, and let's get the ball away, okay? Thank you.
That's pretty clear.
And that's what we want. Tackle, roll away. Sidoli, number 5.
just lies there and really deserves a good shoe in there. And because that's what would happen, and that's why the best sides in the world do recycle ball, because if you lie there, they come in and they ruck you, and then you're not going to be there next time because there was an overlap on the left-hand side.
Gavin Henson puts over the penalty, and for the first time since the opening stages of the game, the Ospreys are ahead. It's now the Gwent Dragons 13, the Neath-Swansea Ospreys 16. It seems a more composed, more focused Ospreys at the beginning of this second half. Gavin Thomas under the restart. James Bater, back row working well. Richie Pugh there in support as well. Henson almost through. Sidolio brings him down. Good pick up as well by Andy Williams.
Tackle down, side going forward.
There's a bit of confidence looking at the Ospreys now. Shown in Gavin Henson's run.
Yeah, I think they realise they've got to pick the pace up. The game that they want to play is a fast game, which, you know, they'll be confident of taking this game.
There's the man who made things happen last week. Gavin Henson, can he do the same this? James Bater, well, they just squirted out the side.
You're handing it back. I don't think you delivered it deliberately, but you handed it back. Accidentally, but he picked it back. All right? We'll let the ball go, and then we get
the grin of acknowledgement from Rodri Jones, and he himself played for both Neath and Swansea in days gone by.
I think he deliberately did it. He tried to get out the way, so skin the penalty. All right?
So 15 minutes of the second half gone. The Ospreys having added 10 points to their account without giving any away. Again, Luke Tate, the recipient. Andrew Millward driving in on him. Henson, a change of tactics. Up goes the high one. James Story follows up with Brett Davey like a rock underneath it.
Good play, Brett Davey.
And away. Downfield as well. Back tracking goes Adrian Durston. Henson is there to lend a hand if needed. Adrian Durston favours the left foot anyway, so that was the one near the touchline. But that was well played by Brett Davey. Superb take and awareness of where the gaps were.
Brett Davey. Good take, quick tap.
That's another former Neath player, Steve Jones.
And he used to make an impact when he came on, you know, when playing for Neath, and hopefully that's what they'll be hoping that he'll do for the Gwent Dragons.
Yeah, went on the development tour of Canada back in 2000, got his one cap against Japan the year after. Nicely taken by Nathan Brew. He's defended well. Many opportunities going forward. Maybe a penalty to the Dragons if nothing develops.
Still playing advantage.
Still advantage being played by David Davis. Jarvis linked to Scott Gibbs' left ear somewhere.
You were in front of everyone, yes. You were in front of everyone else.
On the Edson. There he is.
And he's getting it from all angles at the moment.
Hit the line. You just crept up and meet in front of everyone.
Ball in the ear. What'll be next?
You were a meter in front of everyone's okay. You were a meter in front, okay?
And Lee Jarvis hasn't had a successful time of it in the second half. His confidence needs this. His team needs this. And they've got it, thanks to the post. So once again, things absolutely all square.
And I think the Ospreys will be looking for a substitution now.
Yeah, he needed that, didn't he?
I think Bonner Evans might be warming up to come on. They need someone to carry the ball.
Nathan Bonner Evans, a starter at 8 last week. A replacement for James Bater this time out.
Okay, you ready?
Nathan Grew deciding against the kick from inside his own 22. Lee Jarvis has that duty, a duty which he completes successfully. There's James Bater, very promising young player.
There's Nathan Bonner Evans with his boots. I think all the players who play the game think you've got to be a good player to wear white boots. So let's hope that we'll see something on Bonner Evans.
Andy Williams is certainly not afraid to go for the gaps.
That ball's been stolen by Van Rensburg, I think.
Marinos, it goes to Steve Wynn. And Grease finds some space behind the defence. Durston slips. Well, it wasn't knocked on, he went behind, says the referee. Ian Goff in support. Up to the Ospreys 10-metre line as the Dragons work up ahead of steam. Jarvis to Van Rensburg outside him. Van Rensburg strong running. Pop up from the deck as well to Steve Wynn in support. Chris Anthony there as well. Up to the 22 by now. A warning from the Ospreys to leave it alone. The outstretched hand from the referee shows that the Dragons will have a penalty anyway, so they've got a chance for nothing at the moment. Marinos, no way through. Van Rensburg tries to go the long way round, and the numbers won't work out, so they'll come back straight in front for a shot at goal.
I think there'll be a warning here, slowing the ball down, next one goes in the bin.
Don't people lie in there, they're going to lie there, I'm going to bin them, okay? They came over the top, stopped the ball and didn't make any attempt, okay? You're going to go to the bin, either side, I've warned them and warning you, okay? You both want quick balls, we'll attempt to get out the tackle.
The Ospreys forced to kill it because the Dragons made very good use of that one from their own 22.
Very good play there by the Gwent Dragons. Good short passing, hitting good angles, getting over the advantage line. And I think the important thing about that was the pace. Everything was done at pace.
I just told Scott, same as you, they're going to kill the ball, stop it coming out of the penalties and they're going into the bin, okay? Alright, same as again, okay?
Lee Jarvis, steady in concentration. It was an easy kick, but it was an important one, because as Lee Jarvis goes up to 14 points himself, the Gwent Dragons are back in the lead. 19 points to the Ospreys, 16. Game just into its last quarter. And the pace has picked up in this second period. Straight out on full though.
Wait, Barry. Up to the line.
Matt Ruddock a bit more relieved than his counterpart, Lynn Jones.
Well, neither will be happy with the performance, so it now comes down to the result, and they both know that this could go either way.
Steal on the Osprey throw by Peter Sidoli. That is it. 3-1, yes indeed it is.
Thanks very much, Rodri Jones. Someone gave him a pass.
Ben Breeze comes flying off his wing.
Let it come wide, let it come
James
wide.
Story.
Thank you.
It's on its way back.
Stay there.
Henson, again, the speculative drop goal was never on. Jarvis with a hack downfield. Durston is in pursuit. Lee Jarvis, again, can't control it, but Ben Breeze is there. Steve Wynn can't accept the pass. And the big groan around Rodney Parade tells its own story. Again, the handling errors let them down. And Gavin Henson gets a chance to redeem himself with a big boot downfield, and a big boot it is. That one, though, was much, much better than the attempted drop goal, which put the Ospreys in all kinds of bother.
First of all, nothing else on. That's a very, very difficult kick, and he steps towards the on-rushing Dragons player, and he's going to get charged down. He is going to get charged down. Lee Jarvis couldn't, kick it in the right direction, and Steve Wynn just took his eyes off the ball. What a missed opportunity. Not much on there for Gavin Henson, but the wrong decision. Maybe up in the air, little kick in the corner, just look for the back row, but it was a very difficult kick, a drop goal from there. And from the wrong side of the field, which you just step into the on-rushing defenders. Close your own space down.
Use it, Rod, use it, Rod.
Jarvis lying flat that time. Marinos inside his own 22, got plenty of height on it to get away from James Story. And that time he's quite safe in putting it straight out because he was inside his own 22.
Touch with two people now, okay?
www.bbc.co.uk/scrum5, the website address for all your email correspondence.
Keep it there, please. Newport, wait for him, Dragons.
And as last week, well, depending on the golf, of course.
Wait for him.
Set this last week, but 5:30 with Mr. David Moffat in the studio. Scrum 5 highlights of the weekend's action.
Let the ball come, please. Good.
Henson again goes for the gap, and again it's over the gain line. It's been slowed down again, and now then is Mr. Davis good to his word?
No, you both asked for it. All right, you want it. Quick ball.
He's got to go.
He certainly is. He can't find his cards, but Jamie Ringer's halfway up already.
I saw the hands off twice, and he kept it there, okay?
Well, he warned them. Warned both teams. And Jamie Ringer is the one who suffers.
Over the line, please.
Well, the half-time score from Thomond Park is Munster 3, the Llanelli Scarlets, Munster 6, the Llanelli Scarlets 3. So maybe they got a cracker on their hands as we had in the first half here. And the former Newport player, Jason Jones-Hughes, in the centre for Munster tonight.
I was going to say something now, I'm not.
Gavin Henson matches Lee Jarvis in the place kicking department. Nothing to choose between the kickers, nothing to choose between the teams. They're back all square. It's now 19 apiece.
Well, there's a substitution here, and Connor's coming on, and Durson's going off. Let's see where he goes now. Whether they put Gavin Henson to full back and put Connor to 10. Maybe add a bit of thrust out wide. Which again implies that maybe they're not happy with Gavin Henson at number 10.
John Connor's first touch straight down the throat of Nathan Brew, and it's Brew doing the chasing. They're taken by Gareth Morris. Harry Williams meant to get Elvis Savayali on the switch.
Knocked on, lads. From down.
Elvis, there he is, all shook up with that.
Wait up, please, is your mark. Yep, I want him closer, but you stay
It
there.
had to go sometime, didn't it? I couldn't get anything in last week.
What? One white.
There's so many others you could offer tonight. You won't mention Heartbreak Hotel.
Just come in. White, come in a bit closer.
It's all in the
please.
timing, Gareth.
All right, close, engage. Hold it there. Hold it. Black, keep it there, please. Square right away.
There's a new loose head in that scrum for the Gwent Dragons. That's David Pattison.
Use it, good.
Rodri Jones.
Get off in,
Richie
Black,
Pugh
leave the ball,
with
good,
the
get
tackle.
away. Ball's out.
Off with the flick up. Steve Wynn looking for support.
All right,
Rensburg.
play advantage, on tackle.
Tackle was high, the advantage lying with the Dragons at the moment. Marinos crashes up.
Play it.
The intense pressure now.
Advantage over.
Van Rensburg.
Get away, Black, good. Ball's out.
Ball comes back a little too quickly, if anything, that time for Rodri Jones.
Yeah.
Ball's there, it's out,
It's there, it's available for anybody who fancies it. And the Ospreys, a little bit too cautious that time. They weren't sure if they could go for it or not. The referee would have allowed it.
Two good lots and good possession here, so advantage over. I shouldn't play advantage and you've got two possessions. Scrum now.
Yeah, I thought they were very lucky there, the Gwent Dragons, because he shouted ball out twice. So I don't know why they pulled him back. Because he said advantage over as well. But certainly turned the pressure up a little bit now, the Gwent Dragons. Yeah, the ball is out there, so that is out, and the referee is shouting ball out, so they're entitled to go for that.
Hold it steady. Let's have it in.
Obviously
Come on,
mindful
please.
of giving away a penalty and mindful of having 10 minutes in the bin as well.
Good.
Reece Oakley did well then as the scrum came wheeling round. Marinos with a dummy, not crossing in midfield. Marinos rips it again. And the try line is within striking distance
Leave it.
for the Newport
Leave
Gwent
it, Black.
Dragons.
Stay back, Black.
Roll.
Stay back, Black.
Things are rolling all.
Goff takes it on,
Leave it, Black.
leaves it behind. Next runner tries to plough his way over.
Black. Leave it, come, Black. Stay
Was
there.
Steve Jones. Continued pressure. Steve Wynn and static when he had it.
Stay back, Black.
Plenty of time for the defenders. Marinos again into the arms of Andrew Millward. But slipped clear.
Good, ball's there.
Rodri Jones. Sean Van Rensburg has made it. And all that pressure pays dividends for the Dragons.
Yes, had to come all down to patient work by the forwards. First, Steve Wynn got himself in a little bit of a difficult situation. They hit in the advantage, and he just took stock of the situation, went to the centre post, and again, two front row forwards to get a back row forward. And that's the result. Van Rensburg scores under the posts. And now the Ospreys have got to do something extra if they want to get something out of this game.
Time starts now, okay?
Well, they're still within a bonus point for losing at the moment, the Ospreys, and they still will be if this conversion goes over, as it should, from straight in front. Easiest of conversions for Lee Jarvis. And that opens up a 7-point gap.
There's 8.5
26
minutes.
points to 19. 8 minutes remaining.
Here's the ball, and really nothing extra there. No extra man, just a quicker guy in between the two forwards.
Ian Goff.
Come behind, good, play it.
Good support work from Steve Wynn.
Let the ball come.
Yeah, and really the Dragon forwards have taken the game away from the Ospreys. And that could be a crucial mistake. Field position in the Dragons' half, and by the response of the Ospreys coaching staff, they see this as a great chance.
Just to remind you, those of you who weren't sure of the bonus point system, it's now 4 points for a win and a bonus point for scoring 4 tries or being within 7 points of your opponents in defeat. So at the moment it's a win, 4 points and no bonus points for the Dragons, and a defeat and 1 bonus point for the Ospreys. But there are 7 minutes plus stoppage time to change that situation. The ball in. Oh, very funny one. They weren't quite sure what was happening then, but they got away with it. Sean Connor at 10. Gavin Henson dropped back to full-back. Story and Henson outside him. Changed direction, but that was forward. And the Ospreys have lost their composure at the moment as the Dragons have got back in this game.
He won't be a happy man. Well, Dan Marino, Stan Marino, I think, your quarterback. I can't know what he's trying to do there.
Down the middle, please. Good. Use it. Gone round, lads. Scrum down. Black ball.
That's a good response though by the Ospreys. Put the pressure on the scrum. Clock's running out now. They need something.
Just come up a bit, please.
Well, this is a great opportunity. Great attacking scrum. Let's try and use Gavin Henson at full back. Bring him in.
That's the direction they're coming. Straight out to Henson. Henson, well held on to by Steve Wynn. There's the ball, Richie Pugh. They're up extremely quickly. So Scott Gibbs just has to take it straight forward, has to take the hit. And they've lost it, have the Ospreys. Rodri Jones, downfield. Gavin Thomas watching the bounce. Watching Andy Millwood as well.
No advantage.
Van Rensburg with a good steal.
And Goff has taken a bang on the nose. But Scott Gibbs had to take it into contact there.
Yeah, and Jamie Ringer's about to come on because they scored a try when he wasn't on.
Yeah, all right, where you are. You carry on, okay?
Time running out for the Ospreys, with the Dragons back up to 15 men.
I think now what he would want to do is hit midfield, get the ball back, drop a goal. Thank you for coming.
Last seat.
Simple game, all about winning. They need to get another penalty or a drop goal.
Get back round, please, Blacks. Go up the side.
It's up the jumper time for the Gwent Dragons forwards. Good control, allowing Sean Van Rensburg to burst through in the end.
Follow again, please.
Back to the forwards again via the replacement hooker Steve Jones.
Need to hit midfield.
Jarvis with a high cross kick. Brett Davey up there, almost fell for him as well. And in the end, Gavin Henson has to minor it.
It was taken over, it was.
Good pressure by Brett Davey. See what happens here. Yeah, definitely taken over, so I don't know why they were screaming for a drop of 22.
Yeah, not gathered by Elvis Sebayali.
Penalty 5 metres, MO15 Newport for a pull back.
Black going a pull back.
On the knockdown,
Yes.
to go back. The guy who was going for the ball, he's pulled him back. He didn't have
Pressure
opportunity to
was
try and
illegal,
score.
says the touch judge. Brett
Davey
Davey had apparently
Pull him back.
pulled Elvis Sebayali's shirt.
On the knock back. Pulling the player back is going
way round.
through.
The other way round,
Penalty
that is.
just right.
No,
Pulling back.
I'd like to see this because he didn't gather the ball.
That is foul play. Hold it.
Right, let's see this. There's the... Oh, hey, hang on a second. Hang on to it.
That was such the briefest of contacts.
Well, that is such a vital decision because that effectively could end this match as a contest. Hang on, let's see him again. Again, he hasn't been too confident under the high ball. Right, he didn't do anything there.
certainly had no effect on the outcome. Gavin Henson was there to minor ahead of Brett Davey.
Yeah, it wasn't the referee's decision.
No.
Touchouts came in.
Well, it could not just seal the game, but take away the Ospreys bonus point.
There's got to be contact when two players go for a high ball.
Lee Jarvis puts it between the sticks. And that should be it as far as the Dragons are concerned. It's 19 points for him. The Dragons are up to 29. The Ospreys 19.
Here we are, lads. Knocked on you first, scrum down. Black ball.
Oh, good play by Goff, Ian Goff there. Good take. Looked for the quick offload. I think the supporter, and it did hit the hole, but again, a handling error.
Wait. Crouch. Engage.
Penalty for the Ospreys. Now then, what are they going to do here? Are they going to try and salvage 1 point?
Just in the 2 minutes.
Just under 2 minutes is the message from David Davis to Sean Connor.
Just punching on the arm, right, Sylvia. What?
And he feels confident enough that they can strike with a try or get another shot at goal closer.
Hold it there.
Gavin Donis with the flick down. But the cheer from the home supporters tells its own story, that they failed to gather again. Jonathan, you're the one, as usual, picking the man of the match.
Yeah, I thought that Jason Foster played well. Lee Jarvis has really pushed man of the match, but you can't see him because he's got his head between two pairs of shorts there, actually. So my man of the match is Sean van Rensburg tonight.
There he is. He's got his head up from between those shorts.
I think he's played well, he's carried the ball well, a few steals, and of course really the decisive try. So played well, and he's just pipped Lee Jarvis for man of the match.
That's Chris Wells, replacement hooker for the Ospreys. Gavin Thomas took it nicely. The Ospreys trying to get the drive on, but Luke Tate dropped it. Play on, said the referee, Andy Williams. It's turned though.
Ball's on there. Stay there.
Oh, and they've lost it once again, the Ospreys.
Go on, play it.
And they've lost so many of those. And it's cost them dear. The final kick comes from Lee Jarvis. And as it is on their shirts, the Newport Gwent Dragons get off to a winning start at the home of Newport, Rodney Parade. 2 tries to 1 to the Dragons. The Ospreys come crashing down to earth. The Dragons win by 29 points to 19.
Well, deservedly second half performance. You know, I wasn't too happy with the execution of both sides, actually, you know, in very important field positions, but they made the most of their opportunities. They scored that try by Sean van Rensburg, which really took the game away, but you know, they'll be happy with that result. So will he, Percy.
Ben Breeze, broad grin on his face. He got the try in the first half. And Jonathan's man of the match, Sean van Rensburg, got the one in the second. That'll put a smile on the face of that man. Mike Ruddock, director of rugby for the Gwent Dragons, because they've got their first win of the season. The Dragons have beaten the Ospreys by 29 points to 19.
The old black and amber colours. Happy enough here at Rodney Parade. Their new team, the Dragons, have opened their Celtic League account by beating the Ospreys. And, Mike, the second half was a whole lot better than the first.
Yeah, it was a lot better, and I think that the Dragons realised that they had to play to their strengths, and they did. And I think they carried the ball exceptionally well through the forwards. And critically, they went through the phases and they didn't turn it over. And you know, once you do that, you've got the power there. You're going to score the tries. And Van Rensburg took his exceptionally well. And I think the Ospreys, Lynn Jones, will be very disappointed the amount of ball they turned over in that second half. You know, they did the hard work, got themselves back in the game. Henson hedged it ahead, and all of a sudden they fell apart. And inexplicable, really. I thought they'd go on and win from there, but all credit to the Dragons. Showed a lot of bottle and came back, and that man will be very happy with his evening's work.
Sean Van Rensburg, didn't he have a good second half?
Yeah, he did, and I just think they sort of, you know, they settled things down and they started to carry, and they stopped turning the ball over themselves, and then that gives you momentum and confidence, and no, all credit to them. And I suppose, perfect result.
29 points to 19. The Dragons have won. 4 points for them in the Celtic League, and no points for the Ospreys. They would have got one if they had kept the scoreline to 7. They didn't. And here is the winning captain, Andy Marinos.
Yeah, thanks very much, Eddie. Just taking the plaudits in front of an ecstatic Dragons crowd there. You found the momentum second half that perhaps was lacking in the first half. Well deserved, well hard-earned win.
It was really awesome. You know, absolutely delighted that we got the result and got our season off now. And we wanted to get a good result at home for all these fans. It's been a hard couple of months for everyone. We were just delighted, and the momentum came the second half, and the boys dug deep and hung in there, and I think we drew to 19 all, and we got a little bit extra to get us over.
Big test for you this evening. It didn't come straight away. The Ospreys were quick to bring the game to you, but there was a resolve in the Dragon side that came through, and as that settled, so did your game plan. It was a complete second half performance.
It was, you know, we've got a lot of resolve as a squad. We worked hard this week, but it's just been the work ethic of the squad ever since we got together. You know, the guys were prepared to dig deep for each other, and we knew how important this game was for us, and you know, to get the result and to beat a side like the Ospreys, who were a good side, they're well gelled and played well last week. You know, I'm just delighted, and full credit to the boys that dug deep.
Plenty of smiles on the faces of the supporters as you took the applause there. How important do you think it is for them?
I think it's huge for them. You know, I think Newport crowd historically want to support a winning side, and I think tonight the Dragons did that, and hopefully we can get a few more of them back in the stands to support us our next home game.
Well then, right, Andy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Stu.
Andy Marinos, happy enough. The Dragons have won their opening game at home in the Celtic League. One try by Ben Breeze in the first half when the Ospreys were down to 14 players. A try by the Ospreys right at the start of the second half. Fine finish by James Storey, and it seemed that everything was left to play for. Then began another kicking duel between Lee Jarvis, a penalty for him off the post, and Gavin Henson replying for the Ospreys. 19 all. The score stood at, and then when the Dragons were down to 14, Sean Van Rensburg, the man of the match, crashed over for the deciding try, and Lee Jarvis added a final penalty to move the margin up to 10 points, denying the Ospreys a bonus point. So there we have it, contentment at Rodney Parade. And Jonathan, the statistical approach?
Yeah, I think handling errors okay, but I was very disappointed with the execution of most of the things there tonight, and really the Gwent pack, you know, strangled the game in the second half and didn't give the Ospreys many opportunities. So
I think some rolls there, you know, 68 out of 69 for the Dragons shows how much ball they had in that second half, really. And I think, as John mentioned in the comment, the forwards just took control and they went through the phases. They didn't turn it over, and that's why they won.
You did say that, well, even before the ball was kicked off, that actually the performance may not count as much as the result.
No, I think, you know, with a new setup, it's important to get your first win. And by the shot in the changing room, you know, they're all there, you know, holding each other. I think it's important that they do get, you know, the first win of the season, and especially when off the park has dominated the proceedings here. Everyone's forgot about you know, who's playing here, who's coaching here. No one wanted to come here. So I think that together they want to show that they can, you know, put performances together on the park. And today, as I said, result was the most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Ospreys, when they scored that try early on, I think that we thought, didn't we, that they were going to take the game with the scruff of the neck, and it was a very well worked try as well by James Storey.
Yeah, it seemed that they'd worked their way back into it. Why do you think they moved Gavin Henson to fullback?
Well, as I say, I don't think that he's the best communicator, and he seems sometimes, when you play at 10, you've got to change the tempo. As a runner, sometimes he seems lethargic because he is big and he's very slow, getting into his stride. You need to zip to him, because if you, in that position, change your pace, sometimes it lifts the whole side, and you've got to dart and go for it or control it. But I think, as I've said, communication is big. He doesn't seem to be communicating, and people aren't reacting off him, and that's vitally important. And I think today, maybe that's why he was moved. So I'm not the coach, so you'd have to ask him.
No, Lynn Jones is. He's with Stuart.
Well, the boys tuning around there, Lynn, in the studio, wondering what was behind the decision to put Henson the fullback, and whether you felt he was vindicated.
Yeah, I did, and reasons are personal between ourselves, and I'll stay that way.
All right. Any complaints elsewhere? Hard-earned win by the Dragons. You seemed a little bit frustrated at times on the touchline there.
Yeah, well, understandably, we found the ruck area a difficult place to win any ball, and 12 penalties to forward half-time. It just felt we didn't have the rub of the green, but that's the way it goes. At the end of the day, Stuart, we didn't deserve to win. Our front five didn't dominate the game as they should have, and the Gwent boys had the edge on the night, and as a result, we failed to get to the gain line. We failed to penetrate. We failed to bail runners into the game, and you just can't play on the back foot, and it's quite a lesson for our players to learn tonight. And whenever they came down, our tackling was very good, our defence was solid, and then just to give the cheap shot penalty away for one thing or another is unexcusable, really. But that's typical of Wales, really. And I'm sure in England the players have been a lot harder on each other. And that's where we got to get to, really, and start screaming at each other to be more disciplined, not to give us penalties away, because Gwent were going nowhere.
Yeah. A frustrating night. You're a side that likes a bit of pace in the game, a bit of momentum. You had that first 20 minutes, and there was a cutting edge. Slowly and surely, though, it was eroded, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We failed to win our first phase at the line-out. Our line-out game eventually, as you said, eroded as the game moved on, and we had a nice field position, and but we failed to win our possession, and that was it. They just then plugged us back, and you can't score from your own half.
Yeah, what a difference a week makes. Thanks for talking to us, Lynn.
Lynn Jones, coach this week of the losing Ospreys, and he alluded to it, Jonathan, the lack of discipline, the number of times the ruck ball was held up.
It's a professional game, and players get win bonuses, right? If you get penalised, in the professional game, if someone played badly and gave penalties away, they will be playing in the reserves, not next week, tomorrow afternoon. He'd say, right, bring your boots tomorrow, you are playing for the reserves. That was happening in rugby league. The following week, you wouldn't see him give a penalty away. And like Lynn said there, in England, they're tougher on each other. And that's what's got to happen in Wales. We've been living in a comfort zone. It's time to wake up and smell a coffee and realise now it's all about performances and getting results and discipline.
Okay, here's one positive bit of play. James Story's try.
Yeah, I thought they did exceptionally well. Yeah, just the way they worked in pairs, and I think we'll see it when we look at it from behind the camera. I think this is one thing Lynn will be happy with. And Story, well, he didn't take that one opportunity in the first half. He certainly took this one very well and stepped inside a couple of lame tackles there. But all credit to him. I think it was the way they worked the ball out the tackle. And as I said, when we look behind, you'll see how they worked in pairs. And the first pair were Henson and Gavin Thomas. And if you have a look at this, it's all about the angle that Gavin Thomas hits off Henson. And he's running inside the inside shoulder of the opposition. Watch that. He's coming inside here, right? So all of a sudden, they got a bit of momentum going. And then there's the next one, Durston with the offload. And Richard Pugh and Gareth Morris go as a pair in attack. Watch this now. Durston, little offload. Watch the two of them go as a pair. He just peels off and then bang, they're away. And I thought that was very clever play from the Ospreys, and I'm sure that Lynn Jones is coaching them. You want to overload players, you want to get 3-on-1 if you can, or 3-on-2, and then take advantage of it. And I thought that they took advantage of that very well there. Good try.
Yeah, strangely enough, when the Dragons were down to 14 and they started to play a bit, get a real control of it up front with 7 forwards, Jamie Ringer off, and Sean Van Rensburg really had a big second half.
Yeah, he stole a lot of ball, and I think they were patient when he scored the try. He gets the ball at the again. Marnos turns and spins, gets over, sucks 10 in. No, look who's in front of him. 2 forwards, 2-on-1 are there, and he's just quicker.
Marinos does well. I think he plays a very important role for and I think we saw him when he did playing for Wales. He always gets over the advantage line. I know he's not He's probably not the sharpest player as he was a few years ago, but he does get over the advantage line and gives the forwards a target. And I think that's all they want. And, you know, it gave Van Ransbeek a chance to score.
The man of the match is with Stuart.
Yeah, he's standing alongside me, keen to get his hand on Jonathan's Man of the Match award. There's the champagne for you, Sean. You're enjoying your try there. There's a bit more to your game this evening. Congratulations on that award. That was the icing on the cake, but a big game for you tonight.
Oh, thank you, Stu. Well, first of all, I just want to say it was a tremendous effort by all 15 of us and the boys that came on. This is what we wanted. The first game home today made this our fortress, and we just stuck to our game plans, like Mike would say. You know, just stick to our plan, and it will all come. You know, the flashy bits will all come towards the end. But you know, I can't play without tight five doing well and everybody else just doing their own jobs. A bit shaky in the start, I must say, dropping 2 balls. But there we go. You know, you've got to pick up and just move on.
He made up for it, mate. No surprise, perhaps, Gwent Rugby. The Dragons taking the fight on up front. No surprise coming from a coach like you. But that was where it won tonight. Lynn's conceded that.
Yeah, we you know, we wanted to take him on up front, and obviously as well we want to play some good rugby. And it's not bad for 10 weeks on a team full of rejects. So you know, if we can move on from this and
no rejects.
Yeah, and really get on to the front foot for the rest of the season, I'll be well pleased. Just one quick word about the crowd as well. It was magnificent for us tonight.
Just going away from the rugby a second, I asked your skipper, with everything that's happening off the pitch, guys, you know, you can't really overemphasise the importance of that to perhaps bring everything together.
Absolutely, it's been a tough 10 weeks and there's been a lot going on behind the scenes too. I won't bore you with the detail, it's been well documented, but that was a dream start for us. You know, the important thing is we don't rest on our laurels now and try and move forward and, you know, get even better as a team, because to be honest with you, there's only sort of glimpses of what I think we can do there tonight, and we need to keep working on it.
Yeah, you might want to share a drop of that with your skipper as well. I felt that once your pack started getting on top, he was the real target behind, wasn't he? He offered himself time and time again in the centre.
Yeah, Andy did really well. As our patterns just go, you know, we've got. I'm not going to tell it over national TV, but yeah, we've got certain patterns, and we know who our runners are, and yeah, we just stuck to it. But if you go forward, it makes life so much easier for every player on the field. You know, you're from your front row right to the fullback. You know, so just heads up to everybody, and thanks to the massive support we had from Newport tonight. So.
To start, Mike, makes next week a little bit easier, I guess.
Yeah, we've got a tough game again down in Straddy, and we know it's going to be difficult, but the important thing is to get a result. Now, we've got 3 away games early on, so to get this result at home now is massive for us. And, you know, we've got boys coming back after the World Cup, and we can build, and there's good spirit here, as we've seen tonight too, so, you know, I'm sure we can move on from this.
Yeah, well done, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Celtic Cup action next week. The Dragons back at the Scarlets. And latest from Pullman Park in Limerick, Munster 6, the Scarlets 9. This sense of rejects at the Dragons, Mike, you know, the sense that, you know, nobody loves us. And
I think that's a great way of doing it from Mike Riddick. Very clever, pull the players together. A lot of them playing in this Dragons team were offloaded by the other regions, promises who didn't want them, and I think that's a great motivating way. And I think you only have to look to Australia and how they sort of everybody went from New South Wales and Queensland to ACT. They were the rejects, and they ended up winning the Super 12. So. I'm not suggesting they're going to win the Heineken Cup, but you know, it's a starting pad, and it's a very, very interesting psychological way he's using that.
Okay, how did the commentary go tonight?
Okay, I think. Why?
No, just wondered, because if you out there think you can do any better, well, here's your chance.
On the 22, Wyatt, towers above the line, resplendent in red. Oh, I like those jerseys. More like the old ones. Simple, if you like, just red. Oh, hang on, something's happened there.
So, could you do it better? BBC Wales is on the lookout for new commentators, and we're offering 4 people the chance to hone their skills with us at grounds around the country. To find out more, log on to www.bbc.co.uk/Wales Sport or call 08700 100 775.
It's amazing how Gareth Charles has come on, isn't it, since those days.
Does that mean he's out of a job?
No, of course not. Of course not. Just looking for more. There's always more rugby to cover. Now, where does this leave us? I mean, that leaves Welsh rugby in the state of...
Well, I think it's good results for the 2 provinces we've watched, because they've won at home, and I think that means that the fans want to come back and see it again, hopefully. I mean, there was a good support here tonight and last week, and hopefully they'll keep coming back.
Yes, this notion of building home ground into a fortress, Jonathan. We lost it, actually, during the last few seasons of Heineken Cup. Can we redevelop it through the Celtic League?
Well, I think so. I think that's where the start is, and then when it'll be severely tested when the Heineken Cup comes back, after the World Cup. But I do think that Lynn Jones said, look, if we can get away, we want to be a good side, and if we want to become a good side, we have to win away from homes. And if every region makes it tough at home, then rugby will get better in Wales.
Part of the legend going of Welsh invincibility at home, of course, was Connacht winning at Cardiff Arms Park. And that is the live game on S4C tomorrow. Cardiff going for revenge against Connacht in the Celtic Cup. And David Moffat will be coming into the Scrum V studio on Sunday.
It's a vital one for Cardiff. I mean, they've had a bad pre-season. They've lost a few players. Craig Quinnell as well. I think that, they need a win at home tomorrow desperately.